Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 22 of Direwolf20's Let's Play. Pretty much picking up right where I left off last episode. My lava pump station's going well. I did put the sign up as you probably just saw. I got the 6 redstone chipsets that I requested my nifty little table here to build. I'm going to place some blue lapis lazuli in here. Maybe I need some iron. Is that what I need? I gotta figure out how to make the blue wires. There it is. Hey, sweet. So let's get 4 sets of those. And my lasers will start cooking that stuff up real fast. Again, lasers, very quick to make. The piping wire. So blue piping wire is just like red piping wire, except for the fact that it can do other cool stuff. It's used, I believe, to make the golden gates, and we'll see in a moment if that's the case. I'm going to place my golden redstone chipsets in there, and I'll put some of this blue wire in the crafting table. And look, now we can make golden AND gates. So for the golden AND gates, you need this golden chipset, red pipe wire, and blue pipe wire. And I'm going to go ahead and say, get working, golden gate. Those things are going to take a little bit of time to make. I'm not sure if they take longer to make than the iron or not, but I guess we'll find out. Our assembly table's already cooking away. Slowing down my refineries again, of course, but that's alright. My engines are all running pretty well. Got a good amount of fuel in there for now, and a little bit of reserves. And once these guys are done, I'll be able to implement a new plan for protecting these things from explosion. So, for now, why don't I get back to my industrial craft room, and hopefully that thing will be done working in a little bit. Alright, so now I've got all this industrial craft power down there for my geothermal generators, which is awesome. So why don't we go ahead and start working on making this mass fabricator. Ooh, I'm going to need a lapitron crystal. Hope I have the resources for that. And also need some glowstone dust. So let's see what we've got. I'm going to need to get, it looks like, at least 2 machine blocks and 2 whatchamacallits, circuits. Ooh, I didn't teach my system circuits yet, did I? I should probably do that. So while my machine blocks are cooking up in there, are they done? Yes, they are. Why don't I run in here and get the resources required to cook up 2 new additions to this thing. And this room is building up a lot faster than I even expected it to, even though I love this little logistical pipe mess that I've made already. Let's grab these things, and I'll need a bunch of glowstone and lapis in the future anyway. So that should be cool. Gonna hang on to all that stuff. And let's get ready to craft it up. So I've got 2 automatic crafting tables that I just requested. And we can place them right here and here. And then we'll craft up our logistics pipes into crafting logistics pipes. One there and one there. And let's see what we're gonna craft. I'm going to need 6 of those red copper cabling things. And I'm going to need 1 of these. And how am I for redstone? Alright, going to get a bunch of that stuff. Might as well just have it ready. Why don't I get all the resources I need for the next 2 items I'm going to craft and be right back. Alright, hopefully I got everything I need real quick. I'm going to put my copper cables in like that. These guys here and a piece of refined iron. So that's my electronic circuit. We should teach our system how to make that. And then this guy, I'm going to go ahead and do, let's see, I need my bronze ingots in the middle, tin down here, and 1 more piece of refined iron. Looks like I miscalculated how many of those I need. And I really need to get to the point where I can start making refined iron and whatnot automatically. I'll probably get to that pretty darn soon. Possibly very soon. We'll see. So there we go. Mixed metal ingots. Remember, I need those for a lot of the advanced machines I'm about to start wanting to make. So for now, let's grab ourselves half a stack or maybe even a full stack of coal and start macerating that. So where's some coal? There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and request 4 of those mixed metal ingots. Good, that worked properly. And 2 electronic circuits. And while that's happening, I'm going to drop my coal and my macerator here, and I'll be back in a few minutes once I'm ready. And I should probably grab these overclocker upgrades just to make this run a little bit faster. Alright, while all that coal is macerating real fast, I'm going to go ahead and request 2 more of these electronic circuits, which I'm going to need in conjunction with, I believe I've got 1 diamond left. Holy cow. Really need to either get back to mining or maybe check on my equivalent exchange goodies. I'm going to need some more diamonds pretty darn soon. I take my energy crystal and I combine electronic circuits with my energy crystal and some lapis, and that gets me the lapitron crystal that I'm going to need for this guy. And then I picked up those 2 new electronic circuits for what I'm going to need them for in a minute. Let's see how my coal dust is doing. Good. Put my overclocker upgrade in my compressor now for some mixed metal ingots, and then I can convert these guys into raw carbon plates, which I'm going to need at least to combine in my crafting table, like that, for raw carbon mesh. And this stuff is again used for the advanced machines. I think I made advanced machines a bit ago when I made my induction furnace, so shouldn't be a big huge shock to you guys how to make those. Gonna place my machine blocks in here. That's fine. And I did make a few extra carbon plates, which is not a big deal. I meant to do that. And I've got my lapitron crystal, and I need to make some advanced circuits, which, as you guys have seen in the past also, are made like this. Advanced circuits, get all my resources back. Cool. So I've got my lapitron, I've got my advanced circuits, and 2 advanced machines on either side, right? And then some glowstone in the corners. Hooray! Mass fabricator. Sweet. Energy to matter. Achievement get. Nice. I'll be back in a few minutes here once I've cleaned up my inventory and I'm ready to do this stuff. Alright, so let's run downstairs and start fabricating some mass. Pretty simple and straightforward process here. I just connect this guy like so, and I can connect power to him. And I'm pretty sure what I can do is maybe, with the redstone signal thing, prevent this thing from running. But for now, it's alright. What I also want to do is dig right down here. And I'm going to need to go back upstairs for this next step. So let's turn on our light. I like that little laser thing, by the way. It's pretty slick. Let's go over here and drop down 1 more. And I thought I had these ready, but I might have thrown them away in a moment of not thinking. And place this guy down here. And I'm pretty sure that I want to go with frequency 5 this time. There we go. And can receive true. Remember, you want both sides to be receiving true. Good deal. Back downstairs, I'm going to connect this guy to frequency 5 again, so that this thing can feed my mass fabricator with all those goodies that I just made, and again, receive true. Next up, I'm going to craft lapis around a basic logistics pipe for the supplier pipe. I'm going to tell the supplier pipe, hey there, my friend, do me a favor and keep this guy supplied with all that good stuff that I didn't bring down with me. So let's do this. Hit the button and go up. I'm going to grab half a stack. That sounds like a probably solid amount of junk to supply it with. So we'll say that, and partial requests yes, meaning that if you've only got about 10 pieces of scrap, go ahead and pull them in, that's fine. And what should happen is pretty much almost instantly, we should see this scrap starting to flow in through my logistics pipe. And there it is. Hooray, we're getting scrap. We'll let all that flow in before I connect up the power here, just to make sure we get the 32 we're expecting. And then in addition to that 32, I'm going to go ahead and add the 32 I have for a total of 64. So all we got to do now for my mass fabricator is give it some power. And that's going to be very simple and straightforward. Right like that. Sweet. And the mass fabricator starts producing mass. You can see it's running awfully quick, and this amplifier number here is telling us that it's running off the scrap. Now you could run this mass fabricator without scrap, but there's a problem with that. And the problem is that it's going to be much slower and require a lot more energy. It requires, I think, like 10 times more energy or some crazy number like that. So you pretty much want to make sure you always have a good amount of scrap in here. And you can see my geothermal generators doing their best to make sure there's plenty of juice inside this MFE. So they're producing more energy than the MFE can output at the moment. That's why only a few of them are turning on, and one of them's flickering back there. So we're producing more energy than we can use at the moment. That's the reason I need to upgrade to the MFSU. Because if you guys remember, Industrial Craft lesson time, for anyone who hasn't been paying attention to the series thus far, we're producing, well, 128 energy units per tick right now, which makes perfect sense, because that's how much this thing's allowed to output, 128 energy units per tick. And that's how much it is outputting, 128 energy units per tick. Makes sense. These things have the capability to produce more than that. We saw in the last episode that they could produce 180 energy units per tick. So what I should probably do at this point is get ready to upgrade that MFE to an MFSU. That's probably going to be a good idea pretty soon. But for now, we're going to let it run, do its thing, and I'll be back in a few minutes once I'm ready to record some more stuff. Alright guys, I just popped into my BuildCraft room for a few minutes, checked in and saw that one of my golden AND gates got created, and as I was playing around I discovered there's a little addition to BuildCraft gate logic that I wasn't quite aware of yet, and the good news here is that I can now use that to my advantage. So I'm going to grab my alchemy bag here and get ready to show you guys what I have in mind. I'll be right back once I'm totally ready. Alright guys, before I get to that, I noticed my oil reserves are not refilling, so I did a little bit of work off camera, and I'm going to jump straight down here. Whee! Zoosh! All the way to the bottom. Look at that. Ooh. A little further than I meant to be. But look, we reached the bottom of our oil well. So there was a bunch of oil down here, and it looks like we've cleared it all out. So this big, huge area here was completely filled with oil. Not this area, of course. But, you know, lots of oil down here, which is no longer here. So now we need to either get some more oil or find an alternate fuel source. Not a huge deal, of course, but the one thing that we definitely do need to do is disable the power that's going into my oil pump. Because right now, a bunch of BuildCraft power is being wasted on my oil pump that doesn't need to be there. So the best way to do that is to clear out those iron pipes that we've got right here. The iron logic gates, that is, I'm sorry. And if I just disable this setting here, it turns off that redstone signal, no more power going in there, and now my refineries here can start picking their speed back up. Because you notice they were running at the slower speed as a result of the fact that power was being wasted on my pump. Now they can run at full speed again. Woohoo! Alright guys, so there's two redstone contraptions I want to craft real quick. The first one is the repeater. You've seen this one before. Not a big deal. I'm going to place down these things here, and these things here. And the next thing I want to make here is an RS NOR latch. We're going to place these guys in the table like so to get that thing. Now I could be doing this with an AND gate. Those of you familiar with what I might be approaching right now as a plan. But for now I'm going to go ahead and stick with what I've got. I also crafted some red alloy ingots ahead of time here. And I'm just going to place some of these in here, get myself a bit more of that stuff. And I'll leave this extra alloy ingot right in here. Sure, why not? Can I go there? No. Alright, whatever. Let's head downstairs and see what kind of trouble we can get into with redstone wiring in our BuildCraft room. There we go. So what we want to do is pretty much create a situation where we have a little bit of safety warning with these things getting orange or red. And there's a couple ways to do it. But what I'm going to do first is grab my iron AND gate and place it on this blue thing on this wooden pipe right there. Okay. Now there's a bunch of conditionals for power pipes and also for anything that's attached to an engine. So we can see there's a conditional for the engine blue, green, yellow, or red, the tank situation, and then finally whether the engine is safe or not. So what I could do is emit a redstone signal anytime the engine is safe. That might work out, but for now I kind of want to, instead of doing that, worry a little bit more about, is this thing ever potentially going to explode, or could it have exploded, or something like that. Pretty much I want to get an indication when this thing might have exploded. So my conditional is going to be yellow. I want to know when the thing is yellow. And I'm going to break through here a little bit, and let's see, do I have any gravel on me for those nifty cobblestone structure pipes? I might need to get a couple more of those. So let's request some gravel from my system real fast. Should have plenty of it. 30 will be more than enough. And a piece of gravel above a cobblestone pipe, if you guys recall, will get me these structure pipes. That looks good. So I'll leave some gravel in there. Might as well leave some cobble in as well, and a bit more glass, because that thing's often used. And what I'm going to do now is run my piping, this cobblestone structure pipe stuff, right over to here, I think. Okay, interesting. Good to know that that might connect. And what happens if I put a signal on here? I can detect a redstone signal here. That's interesting. Good to know. Alright. I'm just messing around, don't mind me. Give me a minute to figure out exactly how I want to run this system, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm thinking this will be fine, even though there's little visual things going on here. That shouldn't be a big problem. What I want to do, basically, is run my guy like this, and place down another pipe thing here. And then I'm going to run some red pipe wiring, which I need to grab. And what I want to tell it to do now is connect this thing along here. And what I want to say is, when you are getting an engine yellow status, emit this red pipe signal, which it's obviously not going to do right now because the status of the engine is not yellow. So that's good. Okay, and we can test this real quick if we wanted to by maybe knocking off this pipe right here. If we knock this pipe off just like I did, look at me with inventory problems yet again. I can just store this junk in my inventory for now. I don't need all that. I forgot to put it back in my little table thing. So what should happen now is, as soon as this water runs out, and I'll be back in a minute when it does, it should start emitting that red pipe signal. Let's check it out. And there's a cow on my roof. Hello, Mr. Cow. What are you doing up there? Anyway, how's my water situation? Halfway there. Alright, almost there, so this should be a pretty good indication to you guys how quickly an engine that doesn't receive water can get to the orange stage. As soon as it runs out of water, it should quickly jump up to orange, and we should see this red wire thingy turn on. So, there it goes, and look, active. Perfect. And then we can go ahead and reconnect this golden waterproof pipe right here. And you're alright doing this as a quick test because it takes a long time to go from orange to red. And all my water should start filtering in there and quickly cool the engine back down to green, and the red thing is off. Cool. So now let's see what happens. I'm actually going to do something like this. I want to knock this off again. You know what I can do? I can make this a green conditional as a test. That's probably an even better plan. I definitely think that's a better plan, actually. So let's change this guy to engine green. Okay, so see how that's not connecting to my red wire? Well, actually, wait. First I have to say, when red pipe signal, emit a redstone signal. And will redstone wire connect to this? Oh, dude, that's awesome. It does. Perfect. So I don't need the repeater after all. Alright, so what I'm saying here is when I get the red pipe signal, emit a redstone signal. Perfect. From here, I'm going to wind up moving this thing. That's going to shut off all my engines, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to wait a few minutes for them to completely cool off. But what I want to do now is test this kill switch that I'm going to build. So basically, I want to have probably right here is a perfect spot for my RS latch. That looks good. And right here will be the other side of the RS latch. And this will have to be the output. So that what should happen okay, good to know. Maybe I need a pulse former or something. Give me a minute to think this through. Alright guys, quick change of plans here. I'm making an AND gate. I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I was planning to originally, just because the RS NOR latch is doing something a little bit different than I expected. So let's head back and do this thing. And I should probably eat real quick while I'm on my way. Gotta love that bread, dude. Seriously. Alright, so running in here, I'm just going to place down my AND gate real quick. And I'm going to set this thing so that it's the outsides that need to be on, if I can figure out how to do that. Is this it? Is this the setting I want? Yeah, I think that's how I want it. And then I'm going to set this guy to be engines safe. So in the event that the engines are safe, we're emitting our red signal over here, which is activating this redstone signal, which will combine with this guy and turn all my engines on. Now, of course, they're not running at the moment just because of the way this thing is with the engine heat thing. So I'm just going to turn that off for a moment and see. As soon as it becomes unsafe, it'll turn off the engines automatically. I can switch it back to the safe situation. And if we were to turn off our all engines lever, again, the engines won't turn on because we need both the lever on and the engines to be safe in order to turn on the engines. So that's pretty cool. I might implement a little RS NOR latch action over here to notify me via a light turning on or something if we ever did get to the orange situation on any of these. So the next guy I want to do here, yeah, let me think for a minute because now I'm concerned about something else. Alright guys, I think I've come up with a semi-reasonable solution here. Just finishing up the touches now. Didn't want this guy touching this thing, really. Maybe I can put a little cover on top of it or something like this. Alright, none of those are doing what I want. Probably need a nice smooth stone cover. Should have one in here, or marble, if I don't have smooth stone handy. That'll work. Alright, that should prevent that thing from receiving a signal. Alright, so what I've done and wired up here, it took me a few minutes to consider exactly how I want it to work, but this is pretty straightforward, honestly. I wound up using the RS NOR latch like I wanted to, and I've got an engine kill switch set up here. So what I've got is this thing set up to emit a red wire signal, a red pipe signal, when the yellow condition is met. And I did switch back to yellow and kill switch instead of what I wanted to do a minute ago, and I'll explain why. So this thing running through here, doing its thing, and this isn't an issue, I forgot. Yeah, it doesn't matter if that's there at all. So let's go ahead and place down this thing again. That's just a visual thing, it's not going to actually affect anything. My mistake. So it'll activate this RS NOR latch, which will turn off this redstone signal to the AND gate. So let's see what happens right now. Everything's running, everything's good, right? And this button here is just my reset for this issue. So if I hit reset, it resets the system and allows the engines to run. Now let's simulate this thing turning orange by changing this to green, blue. Boom. Because it hit the blue color, normally it would have been orange, it turned on my red pipe signal, hit the RS NOR latch, and even though it goes back up to orange, it's not going to automatically reset the system. And I might build in an automatic reset in the future, but for now this is me monitoring to make sure that my engines down there are stable. And this is kind of like a kill switch. Then I have to jump into this room, and in order to get the system to run again, even though my lever's on, I have to hit the button here. And that resets the RS NOR latch and allows my engines to start running again. And I can always turn off my engines with the lever because I have that engine thing hooked up to, as you see, an AND gate. So both the kill switch has to be disabled, which it is because it's emitting a redstone signal, and the lever for the engines needs to be on. Now they have a minuscule amount of heat in them, so that's why they didn't turn on just yet. But if we wait a minute, we'll see them turn on. And I'm going to leave this guy at the orange stage. And the reason I did this is because now I can go across here, grab this thing, and this thing, put this thing here, and now I can run this here, 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 and here. And all these guys can do the same thing. All I got to do is run my wiring across like this. See how I'm running this all? And all this good stuff should be connecting, but it doesn't appear to be across the gaps. So maybe I have to do it across here as well. And with that there, I don't need this thing. So that should work. Alright, so what's going to happen now is if any of these guys hit the orange stage, they're going to emit a red pipe signal. Again, orange stage equals red pipe signal. And I'm going to do this for all of them. Alright, so now all of my engines, if any one of them turns yellow, they're going to emit that red pipe signal. Yellow, red pipe signal. Yellow, red pipe signal. Same thing, right? All across the board. This way, if any one engine turns yellow, it's going to emit that red pipe signal, which is going to make its way all the way over here and straight down. That's the reason I did that instead of going with the engine safe condition, because it would have had to be a little bit different for the engine safe situation. So now, let's pick any random engine here and make it you know, the blue conditional. Oh, just killed the whole system because one engine met that situation. Now, once that's on, it won't start back up again until I hit the reset switch. There we go. Reset, everything's happy. Now we just have to wait for these guys to cool off for a few minutes before they start running again. But now we've got a pretty safe buildcraft room, and we should not have any more explosions. Hooray! Alright, let's run in here and check on my antimatter relay. Oh good, lots of juice in there. Let's start charging this guy up. I'm also going to head over to my miscellaneous junk chest real quick. Where is that stuff? There it is. Do I have a chest in here? I do. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead. Probably should have cleaned up my inventory before starting this. I'm just going to throw all this junk in there that I don't need at the moment. I'm going to need one wooden transport pipe. And I'm going to need to get my requester tool here to go ahead and request a redstone engine be crafted for me. And I think it's about time that I deal with some of the UU matter that I'm producing down in my basement. I did start producing it, of course, but I don't have a way to pump it out into a chest, and that's probably the next most logical step. And of course, it's a very simple process. Just gotta dig down here real fast, place down a redstone torch, redstone engine, place my chest like so, and then my wooden transport pipe goes right here. And give it a good whack with the wrench to get it to say, hey, you're supposed to be pulling UU matter out. Perfect. UU lands in there, and every pulse of the redstone engine, it's going to pull it out. As you can see, I got about 30 UU matter before I ran out of fuel in my geothermal generators, and I can easily turn these things back on by just flipping that lever. And it'll start pulling down some lava, and all the geothermal generators are producing energy again. And now my mass fabricator is running again. So I'll let them burn through all the lava in these tanks, and then we'll go see about getting some more lava. Oh yeah, look at that. I've got a lot of EMC here in my Klein star. Let's go through it on our transmutation table and see what we can do about that. Oh yeah, we've got enough stuff to make a red matter piece. Interesting. Not quite enough for another collector yet. And I'm not sure if I want to go collector or what I want to do. I could also get, looks like maybe about 2 pieces of dark matter's worth of EMC. Sweet. Alright, just flipped the lever here and started to pull in some more lava. So it looks like my lava area here is doing alright. Let's go check it out. Yeah, it looks pretty good and solid. Not bad at all, really. How are we doing? Yeah, we could, looks like we're going to run low on lava pretty soon. I'm going to have to do something about that. Not entirely sure how I want to resolve that situation, but for now, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Let's run back down into our basement room here and see how we made out. Yeah, we're alright. You can see all pretty much the lava coming in is keeping up with the lava going out, and we're doing our best to keep our geothermals nice and full. How's this thing doing? Nice. Yeah, we're doing good. So, producing lots of UU matter. Looks like we've already got 33. Wow, I'm going to be able to make a quantum suit armor piece pretty darn soon. So, I don't know, I think it feels like a pretty good wrapping up point for episode 22. Hope you guys enjoyed checking this out. So this is Direwolf20's signing off. Take it easy.